Hello, I'm ABXSlaycat and welcome back to some videos that I want to talk about and show you some items which are only ever used in multiplayer survival in Minecraft. They're never used in solo survival, and the reason I figured these would be kind of fun to bring up is because lots of people play Minecraft only with friends, or they play it only by themselves, and they think this is the only way the game works. You know, people think that the way they're playing the game is the way everyone plays the game, but the truth is there are so many different ways to play Minecraft, and you don't really realize that sometimes, so I figured why not talk about one of the most fundamental ways that changes the game, you know, who you play with, or if you play with anyone at all, and that's exactly what I'm doing in today's video, so hopefully you all do enjoy it. You can like the video if so, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like this sword video, and let us know you do like giant dog faces built from wool, as it turns out too. If you're curious, this is the very first thing I built in this world, if I'm not mistaken. It's a dog, in case you're curious. It's, again, this was kind of poorly built, but I kind of like it. But let's get straight into the actual video, which is nothing to do with dogs, because the very first thing which is only ever going to be used in multiplayer is most types of potions. So I'll admit there are 2 or 3 or 4, or, you know, there's some potions you'll use in survival, such as a fire resistance potion, very, very handy. That, you know, single player survival, that is, or the strength potions. Sometimes you need that to help you fight with a boss or whatever else. You know, sometimes these potions do have some use in survival, but they're few and far between. Again, it's mostly just, you know, fire resistance, sometimes a strength, sometimes a healing, regeneration, stuff like that you might want to use. However, most splash potions and most lingering potions, pretty much every lingering potion in fact, is never going to see any use in survival unless you're just being a little bit creative. Because if you look at this big list of potions, how often do you need to give a lingering effect of night vision for just 45 seconds? Why would you ever want to go through the extra effort to give yourself less time with night vision unless you're trying to give a group of mobs night vision? No, you never need to do that. What about the same with invisibility? Why do you need to make a group of mobs invisible? Or in fact, why do you need to be invisible in solo? Or you just don't. That's the truth behind it, and that's you know, the truth behind most of these potions when they're in splash or whatever form. When do you need to poison things in survival from a distance? You probably don't. Or when do you need to harm something? These potions just don't have a use inside solo survival because their main target, you know, can be a mob technically, but they don't have any real effect on mobs because most potion effects are designed for players, and that's why most splash potions and most lingering potions, I'd say pretty much every lingering potion, will see little to no use in survival, and that's why these are items which are mostly known about, recognized, etc. By multiplayer players, and you might not even realize that that was a bias you had in your head. So yeah, there's the first little thing that's only ever used in multiplayer. Most types of potions, with very, very few exceptions. Again, just a thing you might not realize. The second thing, mostly just used in multiplayer, is actually, you know, it's an armor type, which I don't really even use then, but like some people use it for minigames and stuff, and that is dyed armor. So dyed armor is really great if you're just wanting to show off like how visually cool you can look, because if you don't know, you can take armor, you can dye it up to 16 colors, but then you can dye it again if you want, and I believe by, you know, using all the combinations, there's something like 16 million possible combinations of dyed armor. It's a ridiculous number of possibilities, and by doing this, you can look like however you want. You can have an orange hat with a light blue tunic, with some dark blue pants, with some dark blue boots, except if we wanted to, we could take those off, we'd be like, actually, I'd like some blue-orange things, so we can do that right now, in fact. So let's take these and let's put some orange in there, shall we? So there we go. Now we've got this weird, I don't know how they went slightly pink, but blue and orange apparently makes pink. That's the way the world works. But still, you can make these ridiculous colors and you can express yourself fully, but why would you ever want to in solo? You just wouldn't. That's the answer right there. And how often do you have leather armor in solo? And then, you know, how long do you have leather armor? You need leather armor and you need dye, and most of the time, by the time you have both those things, you've probably moved on to bigger and better things because you don't need to look good in solo, whereas in multiplayer, maybe you do want to look like a ridiculous man with, you know, whatever's going on right here. That might be your thing. You might like to look like a, you know, a cat that just threw on whatever he could find, and if that's your thing, then dyed armor's got you covered, but only really in multiplayer. The third thing, only really used in multiplayer, is actually a couple of types of food. There is the enchanted golden apple. So again, this is a ridiculously expensive food. It costs 8 gold blocks, and you're only really going to make it if you find it by accident and you're just curious, or if you want to get the achievement, or maybe if you're trying to fight the wither and you're on a time constraint like I was that one time. But realistically, how often are you eating this thing just because like, oh no, there's some skeletons over there? You don't. Whereas in multiplayer, this is the crazy OP thing. It's so OP they've nerfed it on the PC. In fact, they've nerfed gold farms to get to it. They made the enchanted golden apple uncraftable there because it's just that OP. So in solo survival, this is something you'll use maybe once or twice in your Minecraft life. But if you play multiplayer, then one, it'll come up in like, you know, game chests and stuff. But also, you know, there's the situations where you might want to go through the effort, make one of these, and just destroy your opponents. Because if you eat these, if you don't know, you get 8 extra hearts, if I'm not mistaken. You get, again, 8 hearts for a whole 2 minutes. You get 5 minutes of fire resistance, so you can jump in lava. You get resistance, which is a 20% just effect, and you get 30 seconds of regeneration too. So if you, okay, so if we do somehow take some damage, it'll regenerate very, very quickly. And that just means that you're basically invincible for a bit. You know, you can still die, it's not impossible, but you're basically invincible, and that's what really counts. And that's why the enchanted golden apple is pretty much a multiplayer only thing, which is pretty nuts. Another multiplayer only food is actually the cake. Again, this food, you know, theoretically you might want to make it in survival, especially because there is an achievement, but what do you need to do with it in survival? Like, you place it down and then you get a really low quality food. If you don't know, cake is really bad saturation. It only fills one bit of your hunger bar, and realistically keeping these around for you isn't a very good idea unless you want to stack lots of them or you want to make a staircase or something, which again, not a very common thing. So cakes in survival are pretty much only for, like, you know, let's say videos or something, like you want to seem like you're eating a cake or something, or, you know, maybe it's useful for, like, if you just want to feel fancy or you like the look of the block, but it's not used as a realistic food by realistic solo players because you don't need to look fancy, you don't need to look cool. There just isn't really a point. So speaking of not having a point for that, another one which has the same kind of effect is most types of banners. So I'll admit, sometimes there are banners in survival where you want to use them because they make your thing look like yours. So if you want to, like, for instance, place this cat banner down on something to be like, this is the cat house, look at it, it's lovely, it's a cat on a table, then that might be something you do like. But most types of banners, like danger banners, and, you know, I'd say most banners people are using are only used in multiplayer because you need to convey a message from a distance and you can't see it up close. And again, this is something that you only need to do in multiplayer because in solo, you know what your signs say. I know that sign says, I think it says Doge actually. I'm not sure, it's been like 2 years since I read it, but I'm pretty sure that sign says Doge. Yeah, as you can see, I don't need a banner that has that on there because I can see it from this point over here. And the reason, you know, the reasoning behind this is like, yeah, well, I guess, you know, like, the reasoning behind not needing to see that is like, yeah, you know what's on it. You don't need banners because they convey messages from better distances. But, you know, if you know what's on your sign, it doesn't matter if you can't read it. Or if you know what's in your item frame, you don't need one of these. These are really only there for trying to show off your creativity to the maximum extent, which is something you're not really doing in survival so often. So yeah, these are 5 different things that you're only ever going to be using in multiplayer. Maybe this made you appreciate, if you do play multiplayer, like, oh, that's a block I didn't use. Or if you play solo survival, you might be like, oh, well, maybe I should give it a try anyway. Like, you know, maybe I do want to look like a cat who just threw on whatever he found at, like, I don't know, found in his wardrobe this morning in different orders, or like he's been raiding up people's closets. Whatever you want to look like, you can do that, and you can, you know, maybe make sure you care more about this stuff in general. Maybe it's just me who doesn't, but I did want to talk about this video and hopefully start the conversation that hopefully you can all continue in the comments down below. Again, let me know if there's any other blocks you'd add to the list, or if you disagree entirely and like, you know what, so like, I'm always using the splash potion of poison or the lingering potion of invisibility in survival. It's just always the thing I want to do. I don't know what you're talking about when you say you don't want to use it, or like I craft enchanted golden apples all the time, or, you know, again, there might be other blocks like the diamond block. Do you ever use them? Let me know, I'm curious. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll see you all in the next one. So goodbye everyone.